How do you figure out what works best for you to sleep your best? I'll show you how I do it with Learning Loop. So once upon a time, I was an insomniac, and I made a note called Sleep where I could track all the most and least effective methods that I'd found to help myself sleep better, because what's gonna work for somebody else ain't gonna work for me. And there's a reason I'm not using Kylie Jenner's eyebrow serum on these doggies. So I was listening to this podcast called the Huberman Lab, where the Stanford professor says that a good way to fall asleep at night is to kick off your day with getting sunlight into your eyes and working out, and maybe even taking a cold shower, because these things kick off this cellular timer to start secreting melatonin like 12 hours later. And this shocked me because I'd never heard of anything that you do in the morning. I'd always tried things at night. So I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. And I did that in my daily note right here. So you can see that I wrote this down in this little note, and I had some other notes from that day, and we're here on the 6th of July in 2023. So remember that note called Sleep? Well, here it is. And so what I do is I copy a reference to what I wrote in my daily note about the Huberman Lab into some new sections in Sleep that give me new solutions for how to sleep well. So before, I didn't have sunlight into my eyes first thing, or cold shower, or working out early in the day as methods to sleep better. But then I copy this reference to that Huberman Lab podcast note into all these sections so that later, when I'm looking at these interventions and seeing what's gonna work for me, I can see, oh, the reason that I copied sunlight into my eye, or the reason I have this solution, sunlight in my eyes, is because of this Huberman Lab podcast thing that I wrote on July 7th in 2023. So now I have this resource of that sleep page that I use and have used to basically cure my insomnia. I'm basically over it because I've kept track of what worked and what didn't work in that note. And if this looks complicated, it's really not. It's the easiest thing to get started on in the world. All you do is you make pages that represent your biggest pains, your biggest problems, and then as you go about living life, having conversations, listening to podcasts, reading books, you write down what resonates from those to solve your problems, and then you copy those notes into the pages that represent the problems and the pains that you're dealing with, and then you use those pages as tools to solve those problems as you're facing them. Delete them if they don't work, emphasize them if they do work, and you've got this tool made for you by you. You can learn how to do this for all the areas of your life: relationships, fitness, longevity, whatever your C of T is, on the Learning Loop podcast, which is my YouTube channel where I talk about this stuff, the principles driving it. Stop forgetting what works for you to solve your problems.